So I was speaking in a session on human rights and equity in nutrition. And I focused on the nutrition situation globally, but with a focus on Africa in particular, because that's what I know best, and also it's the continent where the biggest problems exist in terms of health and nutrition. So I looked at the causes of the nutrition problems. And the nutrition problems are both undernutrition and hunger, but also what is called overnutrition. It's not really overnutrition, it's bad nutrition, leading to overweight and some of the chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease that are associated. And I traced the causes, very briefly, the causes of these problems from the most immediate causes like inadequate diets or poor diets to the food environment and the causes of the food environment. So the change in the food environment is very much related to neoliberal globalization. We're increasing the food chain is controlled by fewer and fewer big corporations, and increasingly these corporations in the north, the global north, are dominating food trade, and liberalization of trade means that poor countries in general are exporting good food for sale on northern markets and importing back processed foods which are unhealthy, cheap, nice tasting, full of sugar and salt, but bad for health. And I tried to explain why this is happening. So I talked about liberalization of trade, I talked about speculation, the trading of food by speculators, which changes food prices very rapidly. And I talked finally about what are called land grabs, where about 200 million hectares of land, mostly in Africa, has now been sold to big corporations that are producing food now for the global market, often driving poor peasants off the land. And this, together with climate change and other problems, is leading to greater insecurity of nutrition, especially amongst poor people, even though the world is richer now and more food is being produced than ever before. So I tried to say, well, this, we have to understand as nutritionists. If we do not understand this, then our interventions can only be superficial. So we have to connect our interventions to address the immediate problem with some of the underlying and basic causes of the problem, so that a more sustainable approach to correcting this problem can be developed. And in that regard, I talked about the importance of community-based nutrition programs and getting people involved, about regulating the food trade, about regulating financial flows, about combating climate change, about raising awareness about these problems. And I said, most importantly, and this is where I ended, all of this is going to require popular mobilization, or what you call in Brazil, social participation. Because if ordinary people are not understanding these things and are not pushing for change, then our governments will become unaccountable. And to keep our governments accountable and to change the global situation requires social mobilization, popular participation, and nutritionists to be involved in that process.